it's State Representative Jim Walsh here at the Capitol in Olympia for what's likely to be our last video update of 2023, at least calendar 2023. We're a few weeks away from the end of the year, and about another week after that'll come the beginning of the next legislative session here in Olympia. What I'd like to talk to you today about are two different points in public policy that are likely to be issues of importance right away when the new session starts after the new year. The first issue you may have heard or read about some, I certainly get a lot of questions about, is the ongoing fish culvert project that the state and the State Department of Transportation has been involved in here in Western Washington. There's a lot to unpack here. This issue of replacing blocked culverts, those are those kind of pipes that run under state roads and highways that let creeks and smaller rivers pass under the road, has become a big deal here in Olympia. There was a major lawsuit that a group of Native American tribes filed against the state of Washington, arguing that the blocked pipes, the blocked culverts, were preventing migrating fish, salmon primarily, but also steelhead, that swim up river systems to spawn, and preventing the populations of fish from growing as it should, and that unblocking the blocked culverts was an essential function of Washington to restore the salmon and steelhead populations. Well, that lawsuit went through the court system for a bunch of years. In the end, the tribes won, the state lost, and the court said the state has to replace those blocked culverts, either with proper bridges or different, better-built culverts that let the water flow and don't get blocked. This issue came to the legislature here in Olympia first when I was first in the legislature about 6 years ago. At that point in time, it looked like it was going to cost about $1.7 billion to replace the blocked culverts that were described in the lawsuit. We had a plan several years ago to do that, to fund those projects, to fund the $1.7 billion and get the project done. We didn't execute on the plan. We waited here in Olympia, the legislature, the governor, the various offices. Flash forward now to several years later, the project looks like it's going to cost about $8 billion to replace all those blocked culverts. So we're in a situation where this project has blossomed financially from $1.7 billion to nearly $8 billion. That's a major difference in budget priorities. We need to find that money to fund the project because we have to do it to comply with the settlement of this lawsuit that was filed. That's going to be a major topic of discussion in the new session. How do we arrange the money to pay to replace all of those blocked culverts? The second issue that's going to be of great importance in the upcoming session has to do with qualified immunity of police officers, law enforcement officers in our state. In recent years, bills passed through the legislature here have lowered the bar for how a law enforcement officer can be sued personally for actions taken while on the job as a police officer or law enforcement officer. Now, it's been a long-going negotiation and debate here in Olympia and all around the country for that matter of what's the right level of personal liability for a law enforcement officer if that officer hurts someone or does something wrong while on the job. This is not about things they do in their personal lives. It's what a law enforcement officer does on the job. There is a bill that was filed in the previous session that has to do with changing those thresholds, continuing a process that we've seen here in Olympia over the past few years, that I think tilts the scale too far against law enforcement. That is, makes it too easy to sue them personally for things they do while on the job. I have a striking amendment which basically replaces the language of that proposed bill with what I think is a more middle ground, where an officer who acts badly still can be held personally liable, but an officer who acts in good faith, following best practices and training that officers are given to do their jobs, would be protected from personal liability. That striking amendment to House Bill 1025 is going to be a top priority, I believe, in our public safety issues and public policy here, to try to bring some momentum back to law enforcement and enforcing the laws here in Washington. These are two issues: fish culverts and qualified immunity for law enforcement. They don't have much to do with each other, but they are both going to be critical issues that we face when the new legislative session starts right after the new year here in Olympia. That's it for now. Have a Merry Christmas, have a great holiday season, and a Happy New Year. And I'll speak to you again after the holidays, hopefully right before the session starts in January here in Olympia. Talk to you soon.